Let's talk decorative threads for a serger. This is one thing that a serger can do a lot easier than a sewing machine, is to handle something that it can't go through the needle. And that's because we're going to put it through the loopers. That could be either the upper looper only, or if you buy two spools, then you can put it in both the upper looper and the lower looper, and you can get the same stitching on both sides. Now, if your project is only going to show one side when it's done, no need to waste the thread if you're not going to see it. So if that was the case, then I would just use one thread in the upper looper and then work with maybe like a matching thread. So I might just find something really close to the color that I'm working with. This one happens to be from Superior Threads Razzle Dazzle by Ricky Timms, one of my favorites to use in a serger. It's a little bit of sheen. I love this for bobbin work in my sewing machine. That's why I have a lot of this. The other one that I use a lot is called Pearl Crown Rayon from YLI. Almost has kind of a shine. That's kind of the rayon look. It has almost a rope-like finish, so it's very secure. That means it's going to wash up well, not snag, that type of thing. So it almost is a nice corded edge that you'd be putting on there. This would be something, again, that I would want to use in a limiting amount. I don't want to just overpower, because two of those sometimes on the edge might be a little bit more than you want. You can do this for decorative threads in rolled hems. You could do it just on a 3-thread overlock, and of course if you do your narrow version with the right needle, then it'll be more petite, but if you put it in the left needle, it will be wider and kind of give you a bolder look. So which is actually not a bad idea for these particular threads. But how are we going to get this attached? One of the things that we're going to do is just tie on and pull it through. And I'm going to do the Razzle Dazzle for starters. I'm going to just tie it on to my upper looper. Now, since this thread is thick, as I'm kind of doing this, let's think. If the tensions are left normal and a thick thread, is that going to be extra tight? It is. So what we're going to do at any time we use something thicker is just move the tension down a number or two, just to give it a fighting chance to get through the tension discs. Now, since I am going to be leaving just normal thread in the lower looper, what's going to happen here? It's not as strong. We're going to definitely be unbalanced. So I'm going to need to probably tighten that up eventually, but I'm going to, just to help balance it out and give it a fighting chance also. I'm going to leave it at the normal setting, let you see what it's going to look like before we stitch. But I usually do like to loosen that tension just a little bit. If you have a spool like this, you will need to, I'm pulling off the little cone holder back here so it can just sit directly on my spool. Oh, actually, this is a brand new spool. Haven't used this color yet. All right, poke some holes in it. And as we tie the knot that we talked about for tying on threads, it's just we're going to just lay the two ends together and pretty much do an overhand knot like you would tie a balloon. Now that knot is going to be fairly thick, but not a problem, because we will be able to, I'm going to just lift up the presser foot, bring my needles all the way up, and then give my threads a little pull. Remember, I got the extra one right here, so I'm going to clip it, pull out the fake one, and get a hold of my blue thread. That's really the only one I need to pull through. Now, as I pull, it's stuck right here. Well, the knot is sitting at the first guide. So if I just give it a little bit of a helping hand, and look, now it's also stopped right at the upper looper hole. So I might just give it a little bit of a straighten out that knot so it can pull straight through. And now we're all threaded. So that is actually how easy it is to tie on a decorative thread. And when we're done, just, well, reverse it, tie the new color back on, and pull it right on through. So let's just take a few stitches on how this is going to look. Yes, I have already loosened that to be accommodating of the decorative thread, but I haven't done anything for the red thread just yet here. We're going to just stitch on just a single layer here just to get an idea. And normally I will use scissors instead of running this all around. Two reasons. Number one, well, I don't want to waste my thread. And number two, this is a little thicker seam. And if I go underneath, on occasion, that might kind of hang up there. Now, see what I see here? Oh, this is looking good. But I'm seeing a lot of my red thread kind of trying to sneak to the top, because this is a strong thread, so it's kind of pulling it up. So if I kind of tighten that back up, that's going to help pull it back to the underneath side. Now I do have the right needle in, so that's why it's kind of, you might say, delicate edge here. Ooh, now we're looking really nice. The next thing that I'm going to do, and you don't have to have a really close stitch length. At the normal stitch length that I have here, it's fairly open. So if I did want to have that to be a little bit closed up, I could bring that back down to, 2-ish, and then still see a nice result. So here, let's just compare. One more line of stitching here. Ooh, that really looks like a filled in. Maybe I'll go just a little bit closer. Could get too close with this heavier thread. If you get it too close together, it's going to pile up, and then, well, now you have other issues. Look at the difference there. So from where we started, now obviously this would be a great time to have some matching thread in that lower looper, because that is going to show kind of right along the edge there. Isn't that pretty? So here's where I went really close together, almost a little too close. I like it so it's, it's close, it's touching, might be able to still see the fabric in between the stitches a little bit, but not too much like the first one here. So that's a great one. Now, can you imagine this with the outside needle? Just change your needle over. The tensions will still need to be about what we're looking for on the edge for balance, but now we're just going to be using up more distance of decorative thread. So I would recommend, if you're going to do some stitching with decorative thread, make sure that you buy at least 2 spools, because you might go through it a lot faster than you realize, depending on how much is on that spool in the first place. But try out some decorative threads. Woolly nylon is another one. Gutermann has one that's kind of like a stretchy, fluffy version that you can get a hold of. Those are great ones to use along the edge for something a little bit bolder.